So, Tobi is the CEO of Africa, which is an Intel capital platform. No, so. Okay, so my information is okay. I'm before. What about from perspective of the internet of things? Exactly.
Exactly. Köszönöm szépen. Okay, thanks a lot for the introduction. So the IoT wearable smartphone field, it's a booming field. It has a very lot of commercial opportunities and also downside worries related especially to the privacy of consumers. And we are lucky today to have two experts in the both fields. I know you're both very well known as better professional, but after the brief introduction, I would like if you could just introduce yourself a bit more.
Hi everyone, my name is Burak Savak. I run the software team for the CPE devices for Vestel companies. I have been in the consumer electronics and the similar areas for almost 20 years in different international companies. As I speak a little bit about Vestel, it is the largest exporter, consumer electronics exporter of the Turkey, third largest TV seller of the Europe as well. It has been operating in the several different areas, from TVs to white goods to cell phones to lighting, etc.
And you, Tobi, what do you do in Intel exactly?
Yeah, I'm Tobi. I'm a director of at Intel Capital. Intel Capital, some of you may know, is the largest corporate venture capital in the world. We've been doing, venture capital in technology for close to 20 years. We've been doing it for close to 20 years. We've invested over $20 billion over that time. I personally am responsible for investments in Africa. So anything from in Lagos, South Africa, Kenya, Accra, the whole continent. We tend to look strictly in technology businesses, so businesses that enable the digital economy grow, and being that we're a chip manufacturer, which is one of the source ingredients, we want to ensure that the ecosystem is well fed and well developed.
Okay, great. So, Burak, you said before that Vestel is a manufacturer of TVs and set-top box and other appliances. So why did you decide to step into this smart home field, and what do you do exactly in it?
As I mentioned, Federico, we have been operating in several different areas and expanded. I mean, originally company established as a TV manufacturer and then went through all these other areas. And smart home and the IoT has been a natural expansion area for us. Because what we do is we do both hardware and the software, and we are an ODM manufacturer. And also in Turkey, we sell under our own brand. Our adventure with the smart home has started about 3 years ago. Since then, we have been developing our own solution. In our solution now, we have almost an end-to-end solution that we are going to go to market in the Q1 of 2016. In that solution, we tried to address a couple things. That is one of that we have been accommodating Z-Wave, ZigBee kind of low power technologies, as well as the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi kind of common technologies in our solution. We also enabled to be able to connect from several devices, from your cell phone or Apple iPhone to your PC browser or your TV as a TV app. Mm-hmm. And sorry for cutting you. We
Sure.
are trying to address several different things, and initially we will get into the market in the 3 different packages. And our initial view is, as we will discuss shortly, we will start with some security and convenience combined packages to our customers.
Okay, great. And Tobi, what is Intel doing in wearables? For instance, I know you have some kind of project with the tracker fitness.
Yeah, Intel is very interested in any segment, disruptive or otherwise, that is key to the future of the digital transformation. So we've made an investment in Basis, or where we actually acquired Basis. Basis is a wearable watch sensor company. We've invested in Unique Aviation or Electronics, which is an aviation company that helps you track, that helps you with flight simulation and also helps you with drones. We've invested in Ninebot. Ninebot is one of the leading, I can't remember what you call these things, transport movers.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And it uses sensors, so you literally just, if you want to move left, you tilt to the left and you go left and right. And the Chinese are sort of like the leaders in this technology. We've invested in, so I've talked about the Ninebot, and then we've invested in Sigfox. Sigfox is actually another interesting company, which what they do is they enable IoT devices to connect to each other. So it's without being dependent on existing infrastructure. So this is trying to make all the devices out there smarter and more connected.
Yeah, that would solve one of the main problems now of the field. Yes, but it was fun, because I was in Berlin at the IFA recently, and it's the last edition that everybody's speaking about the Internet of Things as the next big thing. It's about 3 or 4 years they say the same thing, but every time it still doesn't happen. So, Burak, what do you say? Why it happens? Why it's not still?
As Vestel, we see 3 big burdens. One of them is the price. As the previous speakers talked, people are trying to find housing and try to bring the smart home to a common regular user, not to early adopters, is quite difficult because device cost is still relatively high. But we also saw that it came a long way from the, let's say, a small smart plug came from $60, $70 range to sub-30s, shortly sub-20s, and I think when it becomes to sub-10, it will become much more attractive.
Okay, so cost is the first.
Cost is the first one, and the second biggest problem or the burden that kind of frustrates the user or makes them leery is the interoperability. They are relatively scared of buying something and it will become obsolete in a couple of years' time, because the investment or the devices that we buy to our homes are supposed to go some time, and they don't want to invest in something that they don't, it's going to be obsolete shortly. And also that is partly ties to the third reason. It's a very fractured market. Everybody almost has their own standards. Even for the low power devices, there is at least 4 fighting for the main piece of the pie. And if you go to other devices, even the white goods, it becomes more and more. Those are the 3 main burdens that we see in the market right now for the customers become mainstream.
So it's not other problem that the customers are worried about their privacy. This is not according to you.
Data-wise, I think privacy comes after that, because once they installed, they can go 2 ways. I mean, we have seen that customer tendency towards the, okay, I'm going to install this to my house and I don't want to share my data. I don't want anything to go to cloud. I'm going to do a point-to-point connection and I'm going to control everything by that way. I mean, basic security protocols are supporting that, because they are very afraid that once the data went to the cloud, they don't know what's happening with that. That's another burden, but honestly, I don't believe that we have yet to reach that stage. I think that is going to come once it becomes more feasible and affordable to the customers.
So, but it's something we have to address anyway, as
Exactly.
as we were saying before. If really by 2020 there will be 50 billion devices connected, so it will be necessary. And it's also, of course, it will mean that a lot of business opportunities will come out of that. So, what, as an investor, what kind of opportunities you see from the commercial point of view?
I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. I think what I would do is, I mean, Burak talked about a lot of the inhibitors of IoT, interoperability, cost, security fears, but a lot of times people don't realize that IoT is the other side of a coin of data analytics, because what IoT does is enables you to be more efficient, to monitor stuff properly or better, so that you can be more productive. Now, if the data analytics is not there, the value of the smartness is not as huge. So, and that's where cost sort of comes in. Now, what we found is that if you're able to monetize, or if you're able to attack the data analytics and get value from your data, you would be able to convince people more. And the two things we've seen. We've seen that business leaders in different verticals have a different resistance to data-driven management. So there has to be a mind shift in certain industries that I'm happy to use data-driven methods. And then you also need some political leadership in terms of, and we may not be there yet, but in terms of how do you manage people, how do you take that out? And I think that would drive some of the opportunities. But the way we look at the commercial landscape, we tend not to look at it in industry verticals. We look at it in terms of settings. And I personally look at it in terms of what are the different settings driven by the humans, what are the different settings driven by infrastructure. And you can tease out different opportunities based on what we've talked about now, if you can overcome the value versus cost dynamic. So in terms of humans, a lot of people have talked about monitoring our heart rate, monitoring our vitals for chronic diseases, etc. That has been talked about. Humans, there's a lot of IoT in the car, automotive space.
Yeah, of course.
Also, we live in homes and we go to offices. So energy efficiency is something that's important in your home, control of your entertainment, etc. But the other side is very interesting, because there are actually bigger opportunities, the infrastructure side, which is smart cities, factories is a big deal, asset management. So, for example, only 1% of the information gathered from sensors on rigs are actually used.
Okay.
But if you can harness this data and you can tell when your rig is going to be going out of commission, you can save a significant amount of money.
Oh, sure.
So business to business opportunities are huge around factories, logistics, and
smart TV as well. We have an expert here. So in fact, with your TVs, they collect data, right? So what do you do with this data? You collect, analyze that. It's an interesting field, because there are a lot of concerns and also opportunities there.
Yes, and when you're collecting data, as you mentioned, privacy is very important. Abstraction of the user is extremely important. That's what we do, and as also Tobi mentioned, data analytics behind rather than what is this user is doing, what is the tendency of the people, what is the social analytics, where it is going, what can we do with that? That is what we are gathering towards, and we are doing this analysis on our cell phones and the TV devices right now, and we are going to expand towards the smart home and the IoT data as well on that. We are very familiar with to operate this kind of stuff, and it's also going to help us on the, there are some side helpers, like how we can service our devices better. And also tying to Tobi said, the value of the smart home is going to come up when we tie everything together, and the devices will start to act together to help you. Just to control your curtain or turning on and off your AC doesn't make much sense. I mean, this can be done by now. There is not much add value on that. That's what we see. We need to do some data analytics to go towards to bring some add value to that. From that point of view, we are also, I mean, even though we are going to sell it as an off-the-shelf for the customers regarding the price.
Related to this, no, in many industries we see that the big giants from Silicon Valley, like Apple, Google, are taking the lead, so they are eating the other companies and establishing their own standards. So do you think this is something that could also happen in the smart home or IoT sector?
We are working with Google with many fronts, from the Android TV to regular Android phones. And there is such a such consolidation can come. But our software stack is pretty much agnostic of any standard. And as of today, we are working with the AllJoyn, AllSeen, Thread from Google, all those alliances. We are a member of those, and we are following closely. And our software architecture is kind of gathering all those and can interoperable with that kind of technologies, which during the last IFA show we have shown that we have integrated with Nest devices with our smart home solution. We are planning to address from that angle rather than trying to make our own village. We would like to gather the thing, because more consolidation will bring more power, because it will go back to the original thing that I said. These devices' value will come up when they will interoperate. Otherwise, there's not much value.
One last question, because we are almost run out of our time, for Tobi. As Intel is also a chip manufacturer now, and chips are so important in powering all these devices that we have connected. Do you think that also some kind of technological breakthrough could accelerate the boom of the industry?
Wow, technology breakthrough. I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a epiphany of or something that we are working. What I would say is Intel is sort of founded on Moore's law, which is every other year or every 2 years, the amount of processing power exponentially grows. What we have seen is right from dumb terminals in the 1960s with mainframes, that consistently every 10 years we have the compute evolution has grown, which Intel is an intricate part of. And I think IoT is basically accumulation of the ability to compute power into very small devices and sensors. So just over the last 10 years, the cost of sensors have gone down by half. The cost of bandwidth has gone down by 40 times, 40x. And the cost of compute power has gone down by 60x. And as we continue in that evolution, the forecast is that in the next 5 years, we're going to have 10 billion traditional devices and 40 billion things, quote unquote, be it smart TVs, smart headphones, smart everything. And what Intel is doing is driving and doing two things. One, we're trying to work with the software stacks to understand the things they're trying to do for people, the value add, and we embed that into our chip. And the second thing is the data, to ensure that we have sufficient data in the cloud to enable people to use that information.
Okay, great. So I would have many more questions, but I'm afraid the time is running out. I don't know if there anybody in the audience who want to ask a question to our speaker. One question over there.
A quick question. You mentioned Nest. Nest recently opened their feed for protocols and integrated
I think it's very hard to say so because all join, all seen, and some similar standards has been around for some time. But Google certainly has some weight behind that, and I think people have some more inclination towards the Google, being that the 800-pound gorilla in the room. From that point of view, it might be, but it's very early to say so. Maybe come back next year, we will have better data, but so far, we are trying to keep our feet on everything.
Okay. So if there's any other question, if not, next year we have the answer and come here and meet here. Thank you. Bye.